Welcome back to Departure Denied, a dedicated Harry Potter Wizards Unite podcast featuring a group of regular WU players who take part in most, if not all, events. And there has been a lot of events recently. I mean, that's why there's actually been a delay between these podcasts, because we've just been a little bit overwhelmed, I think we should say. On today's show, we'll be looking back at the exhausting but awesome Nature Nifflers events, as well as a much more chilled, though slightly frustrating community day. We'll also look ahead at May's event, but we're going to start by talking all about remote fortressing and the night bus. We've all spent a lot of time with it over the past few weeks, and we've certainly got some opinions, good and bad. So on that note, we're going to do introductions a little bit differently today. We're going to be talking about the recent memorable fortress we've had, what we've learned about player habits, and whether we've actually got anything good from those fortresses. For me, I've completed all of my Magizoology Fortress foundables. I was having the worst luck with Dumbledore's sign-up sheets, so thank goodness for Community Day, which I don't need to worry about that anymore. And I'm now focusing on the Centaur Bows and the Horned Serpent eggs to finish the 2 Odyssey pages. And joining me today is...
Hi, I'm Laurie. I'm a level 50 Aura. And I just turned level 50 actually yesterday, so I'm very happy with that.
Congratulations!
I'm James. I'm a level 52 Magizoologist and also just turned level 52.
Yay!
I'm Beth, level 54 and a professor. I'm just turned level 54 as well.
Wow! Yeah. I feel like I'm the only one who didn't just turn the levels.
So many events.
Yeah.
Easy to level up.
Yeah. And it's great that I'm actually being joined by a fellow Magi on the show for the first time. I'd just like to say that. That's fantastic.
Finally, the majority, Ray.
We've all been Auras so far, I think.
Oh, yeah. Gosh,
you.
First professor as well. So welcome, professors and Magis. It's great. So, the night bus. We can quite easily say it's probably the best feature they've added into Wizards Unite, probably since launch, do you think?
Yes, yeah. I love it. Like, it's so, I mean, we could fortress from home before they reduced the distance anyway, as long as we didn't come out. But there's been a lot of people who've never been able to fortress before. So I'm really happy for them. And it's really good to play with newer players to see what their play styles are like as well.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just nice to have something different to do. I think it was getting a bit samey, just kind of having, using the tonic every day. And that was like your only way to, get runestones and kind of progress in any fashion. And now it's just another option, which is nice.
And Beth and I were in a similar position to yourselves. We've got a fortress close enough that we can almost quite do it from home with a little bit of drift. But it's still nice to have the option just to be able to do it wherever you are, whenever you are as well.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like, because like you say, we're very close to a fortress, but it did take that little bit of extra drift, or you kind of had to stand by the fortress for a while and then you could walk away and do it. But we actually got recently, I think within the recent months, they actually stopped doing that, so that the remit just disappeared.
Yeah, in mid-March with that update, they halved the distance accidentally.
Yeah. But as you say, it's that convenience of literally just being right. I'm lying in bed. I'm just going to literally tap the night bus and I can go into any fortress I want whenever I want. It's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah. And no panic anymore of accidentally hitting the X button.
Yes.
Yes.
The amount of times I did that and then I'd have to go straight back to drop back in. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the only thing, obviously, the big problem I think we are having is the fact that there's no private lobbies. And I think that's really going to be a key feature for the night bus in the next coming months, probably even for Community Day, which we'll talk about in a bit. But I feel like I'm at that point now where I'm playing with a lot of randomers, and we're going to start talking about this a bit more now. And we're noticing some bad habits.
Definitely. It is very difficult at the moment to tell whether some things are bad habits or glitches, because we all know about the bug where if somebody dies, other people coming back into the lobby from, for instance, defeating a foe or a Magi coming back to heal somebody, they get booted out with the restart error. Not everybody knows that they can just force close the app and they can come back in. And even though I know that I've accidentally hit restart when trying to tap something, I don't know how many times, and you have to wait for that timer to run all the way down so you can restart 4 or 5 times before you're actually back into the fortress. So
there's a lot of pressure on us Magis as well. We're when I see someone dropping quite low in health, rather than going in and fighting an enemy and not having to worry about it too much, I was having to sit there and waste 30 seconds or even a minute at some point, just in case I needed to bring someone back to life. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to go in to fight an enemy. And then in some occasions, I watch their health dip down only to see them use a healing potion anyway. So when you're not actually speaking to the person you're in a fortress with, it's very difficult to understand what they're going to do and second guess them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've seen people have different play styles. Like, I know that we've all fortressed together pretty much from the start usually at least once a week. So we all know what we're going to do without even...
We can just sit there silently, not a problem at all, and we can complete a fortress without even having to speak to each other, which kind of puts us in good stead for how it is at the moment. But we've kind of developed our own etiquette without really thinking about it. We know, for example, with elites, we won't all jump on an elite as soon as it comes in. We wait till there's enough focus about. We wait for the Magic Zoology to cast the Bravery charm. Whereas this time round, I get the feeling that the second an elite appears, someone will jump on it straight away, even if it's not one they're actually effective against.
Yeah, I love seeing when people don't. I think I'm surprised and happy when they don't just dive on it. But yeah, that has been happening a lot. And also with professors especially. I know, Beth, you always wait for focus to put the proficiency charm on first, then shield our Magi, or one of the Magis. But a lot of people have been doing the shielding first and not proficiency. And I get really frustrated when I give 3 focus to a professor and they don't put the proficiency charm on.
Yeah, definitely. And I wonder whether that's fear of the glitch. I'm not sure. And just general misunderstanding. I've noticed a bit more recently when I'm in, I've seen the guides that have gone around, and I think they've been really useful, advising people to what steps to take almost. And for auras, it's to give professors focus. What I've noticed happening lately is there'll be, maybe 1 or 2 auras in with me, and worst case scenario is there's another professor or another 2 professors, and they're kind of splitting the focus. So I don't know so I'll get 1 and I can see the other 2 professors also receiving 1.
Yeah.
And it just seems a bit, the kind of guidance maybe isn't clear enough that actually, even at a maxed proficiency tree, which is what I'm on, or profession tree, sorry, then I'll only go in with 4 focus maximum, so I need 7 for that proficiency charm. So whilst it's lovely that they're trying to kind of be kind and share the focus between all of us, it's actually, it means that
it's funny you should say that. I've literally just been having a conversation on Facebook about it. People asking, how do you choose if there are 2 professors in the chamber? And I said that I always wait a couple of seconds, not too long, only a couple, to see if that professor is going to use their focus straight away. So if they've already shielded somebody, or if they go into a foe to fight, then that professor's not getting my focus because they're not waiting to put on the proficiency charm. Yeah. And that's how I decide. If both of them are waiting, then I'll just go for the first one, so whoever's on the left. But yeah.
They can introduce something that would indicate which of the professions is higher, maybe even if it just has the level there. So for example, if they identify Beth as a level 54 professor, they're likely, or she's certainly more likely, to be further down the tree or have completed the tree, and therefore more likely to have the most powerful charm.
They could even do it where they just have the profession level rather than the wizarding level. Because for instance, I know Ray has started doing the professor, so he might look like a level where he...
Wizarding level 47, so so it doesn't correlate, does it?
No, so if you're going as a professor, you're not as good as somebody who might even be a lower wizarding level because you've only just started doing that tree.
Yeah, of course. I hadn't thought of that. I think I'm one of those few people who is steadfastly holding on to all my books and refusing to spend any books on the other professions in the vain hope that they'll open up the second part.
Yeah, I have 261 spell books now. I'm holding on to them.
Yeah, it's a strange one because I guess for me the reason I did it was I wanted to kind of like, because I feel like with Magi, I'd played to death with Magi, and I felt like, well, I wanted a kind of new challenge. I wanted to see what the other classes could do. And so I kind of felt, well, it might be good to just try and be another class and sort of see how that plays and kind of get, when I'm actually in the fortress, then I have a better understanding overall of what that person contributes to the fortress. But yeah, and also the play style is quite different as well when you compare it to just like healing as opposed to being a full-on damage dealer. But I totally, it's a strange position because obviously we don't know when the next set of lessons are coming out, and when they do come out, what kind of books are we going to be needing for that? Are they going to introduce a new set of books? So all those books we've been saving up, may not be useful. We just don't know really, do we? It's
going to be interesting to see when they do release extra stuff.
Yeah.
We're all getting a bit antsy for new things, I think.
Yeah. But obviously then when you do that, it kind of like messes the balancing up of everything. So like, we've kind of got a stable rhythm. So you don't want one class to be more overpowered than the other class and vice versa. It kind of opens a can of worms up. So that balancing can take a lot of time to get right.
Yeah, I think we're at that position now anyway, because you've got a lot of people who are new to fortressing, they haven't had enough books to do a lot of their profession before now. And you can tell I've like going into the low chambers and seeing people who they've new because they lose half their health to one hit, or they take 2 or 3 hits on something like in one shot, and it's really good just watching them play and learn, and I've enjoyed doing that.
Do you know what would be nice though? I've been thinking about this, is if they had something similar to Pokemon in the form of the kind of trainer battles, so like a training fortress.
Yeah.
And that way you could have like maybe just 5 levels. You could have, ruins, tower,
yeah,
whatever.
Forest, yeah.
This one there. But yeah, the 5 different levels or the 4 different levels, and have it like an average difficulty. So an average forest difficulty, maybe a 3, and just have it so that you can train at whatever profession, so that you can get a feel for what your focus can do at different professions, and what, it allows you to, like, I suppose whatever your chosen profession is. So me as a professor, I know what focus goes where and what's best, but I don't know what maybe an aura would want to spend their focus on. So if I could train as that, it would be really interesting. And then as I guess as an aura, if you wanted to train as a professor or a magi, you know where the focus goes. So then when you're in a chamber with them, you might be able to know who to give it to, when to give it to. And I think that would be really useful for where we keep seeing people going into their incorrect proficiencies.
Yeah.
If you're allowed to train, I mean, you would put nothing into it and get nothing out of it. I think that would be reasonable. But if you went into like a dark to train, you could see how much a man might hit you as an aura versus how much, a werewolf or a spider might hit you. And that might start to kind of hit home then that actually the best thing for you is to keep going into the ones you're proficient at.
Yeah.
Maybe it just
definitely
needs people to play it out like in real life.
Yeah, because there are a lot of people, they do want to learn. It's all over, Facebook and Reddit and Telegram, loads of questions people are asking. So they are trying to learn. But yeah, having a practical way to see the difference, as you said, would actually be really good. Because I see as an aura, people, if there's not anything for them to fight, they'll go into a Dark Wizard or a Death Eater.
Yeah.
And you want to just be able to tell them, please don't, because they'll hit it once or twice and jump out. But as an aura, the first strike, I can take so much off with that. But if somebody else does the first strike, I don't get that benefit. So I'm going to have to use more spell energy to finish off that Dark Wizard.
Yeah.
And I think there's that fear that people will feel they're letting the rest of the team down if they're just sitting there not fighting anything, whereas actually biding your time and waiting for something you're proficient at actually helps the team in the longer term when you're doing a chamber, particularly if you're doing some of the higher ones. Personally, I'm messing around in the sort of forest chambers at the moment because they're the foundables I want for the other pages. But I suspect if you get into the higher dark chambers, things like that can actually make a difference between you finishing it or not, although I've not been there myself.
Yeah. Well, I was in a Dark 5 a few nights ago, and a Magi jumped into an elite werewolf. First thing. Took them 3 full minutes to finish it.
You wouldn't find me or Ray doing that, I can promise.
Never. And he's the Magi. He hadn't even waited till he raised himself, or she, of course, until they raised themselves. They just jumped in and took 3 minutes.
But I've noticed as well, when they do that, they are literally potioning themselves. And they will literally stay in that fight until it's over.
Oh,
and they will potion themselves. Don't know how many potions it takes.
Yeah.
And it's
They
bonkers.
definitely were, because they were losing like nearly half their health every time they were hit.
Yeah. And like you say,
Even as a Magi.
you're talking about like the spell energy consumption, and that's also crucial for individual like play styles as well. I mean, like when you literally got, say, I don't know, you've spent 15 spell energy on, say, of FC2, and then you feel like, well, I've only got a capacity of, say, 400 spell energy. I mean, that's a chunk out of that gone already. But the more like if for instance you're leaving those enemies to fight for someone else who actually is proficient against them, then actually you're actually going to find yourself in a position where you can fortress for longer.
That's where the proficiency charm comes in handy, because you need less spell energy to take things down. And to me, that's what I need, is less spell energy and less time to complete the chambers. I don't care how many times I die if I've got a good Magi with me, or even I've got loads of health potions I don't use. I could use those until the bug is fixed. but spell energy is harder to come by.
And it spills over as well because, the quicker you take it down, the less hits you take, the more health you come out with. So it impacts everything, that proficiency charm.
Definitely. I mean, we all hit Dark 5 a long time ago.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I mean, we've been playing these for a long, long time. So it's kind of like we more often than not when we meet up, we'll do a Dark 5. And Laurie actually remembers the exact time, date, and location of where we were when we completed it. Go on, Laurie.
It was at 11 o'clock in the night on September the 5th, if you want to know.
Props if you get the rest.
Laurie.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Do you get the reference?
Oh, God, no.
No. Lord
Is this
of the
when
Rings.
Harry Potter was born or J.K. Rowling?
No, it's Lord of the Rings. It's what Gandalf says to Frodo when he wakes up in Riverdale.
I keep remembering that Parks and Rec episode where Ron, and it's on Star Wars Day, and he says, "Is that the one with the wizard boy?" And it's like, yes, Ron, it was the one with the wizard boy.
But yeah, so I do hope we get new chambers soon as well.
Like new foes that do something a bit different, and playing really nicely to opening up of new lessons. You could have foes that, I don't know, turn invisible, or I have no idea, but you know what I mean, they have different abilities, and the new kind of profession trees come as a result of that. Then you build towards unlocking hexes that allow you to see invisible foes. I don't know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it would be really interesting just to see a bit more kind of new variety in there.
And of course, we've got those challenge pages where we've got the wanted posters in all the different languages that haven't even opened up yet. So perhaps longer term, they were already planning on opening up higher chambers, and that's how we can unlock those.
I saw a rumor about that, actually. Someone said they might end up being like legendary raids, like on Pokemon.
Yeah, they as they were described, they were described as like tough foes. So yeah, I'd love to see them in fortresses, and we all have to like do a turn-based way of defeating them, because right now we all go into our own proficiencies, or not if you don't wait, but it's an individual fight, even though we're all doing it as a group and we're making sure our focus helps the whole group. It's individual when you're actually in there. I would love to see that all of us have to fight one thing or even a couple of things together. That would be
together
to fight Umbridge or Fenrir Greyback as well.
Yeah.
But generally, for the most part, it's been quite stable, isn't it? I mean, I don't think there's been a time in a chamber. I mean, I don't. You may be different from me, but I can't remember a time where I've been in the chamber where it's kicked me out, and I've lost everything. It's only been a case of those odd glitches where kind of like someone has died and it's gone back to the screen. But generally, there's been that stability when you're in the chamber from start to finish. Yeah,
I think I'd agree for the most part. I can't remember, like you said, an occasion where I've completely lost a runestone. I don't know where I've left a chamber because of bad behaviour, but that's my own choice.
Yeah. Well, I lost a level 5 Magi Zoology runestone last night, and 2 potent potions because the bug. I could see people were dropping off. Well, first off, somebody left our lobby with 2 seconds to go, and that was the Magi. So we had no Magi. So then it was too late for any of us to back out, so there was only professors and auras, and then somebody died, and you could see people were dropping out. In the end, there was only me and one other, and there was just no way we could have done it in the time because I'd glitched twice, and by the time I reloaded, it was like a minute and a half left and 10 enemies.
Oh, wow.
There was no way we could have done it. I mean, I've messaged support because they have been, as far as I've seen, really good at giving back any resources that have been wasted because of the bug.
And can they give you specific runestones back if you actually say it was level 5 Magizoology stone?
They can, yeah. I've seen messages that people have posted where they've asked for them and they've given them back.
That's good.
I've never asked for a particular one before, but this is my first time doing that, so we'll see if I get a reply soon.
It's different with Pokemon, isn't it? If you lost the raid pass, it's just a raid pass, whereas like with runestones, it's a bit more logistical. There's a lot of different options it could be, so it's quite interesting now that,
But yeah, we've done a little bit of lobby and bus hopping as well.
Hopping off and on the bus. Day to go.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, you can join with friends, but it can be a bit of a tiresome process. So one of you needs to be in a lobby, and everybody else needs to hop on the bus, look for the friend icon. If they don't see it, get off the bus back to the main map, then go on the bus again. So it's like as if there's lots of different compartments on that bus, and you have to keep going in to find which one your friend is in. So the one who's in the lobby needs to leave if the time is running down. I suggest don't leave it any longer than, say, 30 to 40 seconds left, just in case others are there with you. That gives them a chance to exit out if they want to then as well. And then they need to start another lobby and then wait for the friends to find them. And I like doing that to find friends, but I was wondering if that's annoying to some people if they see, oh, we're full, and then suddenly a couple of people drop off because they're looking for their friends.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I think where we've been doing it, as you say, Laurie, we're leaving with kind of 30, 40 seconds to spare. And I'd like to hope that leaves people with the option to stay, or for somebody else to come in and replace us, or for them to go ahead with the remaining people. I've been in a similar situation that you mentioned earlier, where I've been in a lobby with 5 people, perfect kind of proportions, 2 Magis, 2 professors, an aura, say, or 2 auras and a professor, and somebody's left with 3 seconds to go. The only one of that profession, and we've all ticked join and have then been pushed straight through, and it is maddening. I've got to be honest, it is absolutely maddening, because I can't understand the thought process there. If it's somebody on the bus, then why on earth are they leaving with that kind of minimal time left where they know that nobody else can do anything about it? So I'd like to hope that where we are bus hopping, we're being very respectful. And if anyone does decide to do this with their friends, then I would encourage them to do that as well and not leave anybody in the lurch. It might be frustrating, if you're in there with one person, and I have kind of found fortress buddies where we've had 1 or 2 successful fortress runs, chambers even, and they've kind of followed me back into the same one. And if I then midway decide to start bus hopping with my friends or whatever, then that might be a bit annoying for them to keep leaving. But yeah, it's a tough one, and I think the onus lies with Warner Brothers and Niantic to kind of put something in place where people aren't being messed over, to put it politely, by, I don't know, these people who are leaving with a couple of seconds to go for whatever reason, and also to kind of encourage that friendship where, I join a Forest 5 and I see someone in there with a level 1 brilliant runestone, and I immediately have dread fill me. I want to leave straight away. That it makes me want to leave regardless, whether I'm bus hopping or not, because you just know that is someone who is not bothered about losing that runestone, whether it's not do anything, whether they don't want to put spell energy in or whatever. So I think there may be a need to look to a way of friends being able to play together just for that trust element.
Yeah. I mean, if I see somebody with a level 1 brilliant runestone, I do give them a few seconds, because I know people choose them just to get in the lobby and then they'll change it. But if they don't change it, I don't like going in with them either, because they don't seem like people who want to put much into it.
Alarm bells.
But private lobbies would be amazing. I know that they just wanted to get the night bus out for everybody. That's why it's out with this bug. They knew about this bug before the night bus was released. It was introduced in the update before that. Most of us didn't know because we weren't playing as groups because of the lockdown. But so it was there. They released it knowing it was there. But I'd still rather have the night bus than not at all while they fix this bug.
Because they have removed features in the past that we've just gotten used to, and then we don't see them again for a while. AKA the start button of fortresses.
Yes. I mean, I do hope that they get this bug fixed by Community Day. I'm a bit disappointed that they've come up with this Community Day this month if they haven't got a plan to fix the bug. They could have just waited another month until the bug was fixed.
I'm optimistic. I think they've got something in the pipe.
But it needs to be soon, because we need to test that fix to make sure they haven't introduced another bug with the fix that they normally do. Every fix comes with its own bugs.
When it comes to leaving lobbies as well, I will quite happily admit freely that if not all professions are represented in there, I will leave. So if I usually start a lobby and I'll go in there, and if I see 2 other Magis and 2 other professors, I especially even in the forest ones, I just think it's going to be too much spell energy. Everyone will be waiting for everyone else to fight the men, so I just leave. But I won't leave with 5-10 seconds left. I've been stuck in that situation before with single seconds left, and in that situation I just suck it up and I'll go in because I don't want to leave with 2 seconds left. But when there is 30 seconds or more, I'll quite happily leave a full lobby if there's no auras or no professors.
Yeah, and I just want to mention another bug where, you press join in the lobby. Sometimes you can't actually see anybody else is in with you. So we've had it, we know as friends, they've said, oh, we don't see you, but we can see them. So if you're in with a few and not everybody's pressed join, if one of you presses join and then cancel and then join again, it sometimes refreshes it for the person who can't see anybody. So that they can see them. So that's a good idea to try. But also, if you sometimes go into a battle and you see somebody's not doing anything for, say, the first minute, a lot of people have been getting a bug where if everybody presses join, say, at 1 minute 50, they actually have to wait for the whole timer to go down before they really enter the battle, even though you've gone in. So yeah, if you see somebody not doing anything to begin with, it might just be because they've got that bug rather than because they just, being... Yeah.
Beep.
Yeah, I've been on the receiving end of that a couple of times where it's counted down to 0 and I'm sat there thinking, why on earth is nobody else pressing join? This is insane. And then being pushed through to the battle and it's like 5 minutes in on a forest chamber and I know that that's not the time limit. Yeah. And I'm thinking, why on earth are there 4 foes dead and 3 people are all in already, half, and their enemies are half dead, and I feel like I'm just being transported to the future, but feeling bad as well because I must look like a very unpleasant wizard.
Yeah.
It's like when you go into one of those bars, there's been a bar fight and everything's all strewn all over the floor, there's smashed glass, tables are flipped over, and you're like, what the hell has happened here? Kind of thing. This has been a really good feature, and I'm really hoping that the May Community Day kind of not only gets more people playing it, because I think there's probably still a little bit of apprehension. Some people are kind of like, well, I've heard about some glitches, or I'm still not sure if I have to fortress, or I'm a bit worried about teaming up with other people. So hopefully the Community Day kind of allays some of those fears a little bit, but also introduces some new features that perhaps they haven't done yet, and it's an opportunity for them to now start bringing those into the game because we've been waiting a long time for them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, I'm pretty apprehensive for Community Day. I think it may actually amplify the bad behaviour. I mean, of course, it depends what the rewards are, but I mean, the rewards are already quite nice. If you look at, say the Dark Chambers, for example, those ones that even previous to the Night Bus, more solo players or more individual players may not have been able to reach those Dark Chambers. I understand that the lure of seeing 4 people in there is quite strong, and even if you don't have the kind of profession level that maybe you should have to be going in there, I understand that the temptation is strong. But if they're then going to add more rewards on top of that for Community Day, I just worry that people are going to throw it to the wind and just say, oh, whatever, and jump in.
I mean, my hope is
that they really don't have the level to be completing.
Yeah, my hope is that people will only stay where they know that they can do it. I mean, like we said, we did Dark 5 last September. So we weren't all, I mean, a few of them were all red. We shouldn't have been doing them, but we were doing them together in a group. We could talk to each other and communicate. So it was a little bit easier to do it that way. But yeah, people should definitely start down in the lower chambers. And when they feel confident enough that they can use their strategic spells properly, or that they'll be okay, then I don't mind if they go up higher, even if they aren't quite finished with their profession yet. But they need to at least put a bit of effort in to make sure that they are doing the best they can within a team.
Yeah, there's definitely a fear that some people have been carried to the top chambers for sure.
Oh, we've done it. We've carried our friends, but again, communication is easier.
Yeah,
absolutely. And you only carry one friend at a time.
I think that's the key, isn't it?
And even in that situation, we've given clear instructions to those people, and they know their role in there. So if, for example, the person we're carrying is a magizoologist, at least they're healing people, they're bringing people back to life, and they'll also feel like they're contributing. I don't mind too much seeing a magizoologist sit there in the lobby if we've got more than one and just heal people. You know, I'm sure they'll jump in as when is needed. If you're an aura and you're just there giving away your focus because you're not actually that high level, so be it.
As long as you're doing something to contribute to the chamber, because I have literally, we've all seen people sit there do nothing, and it could be the glitch, it could be give them benefit of the doubt, but I'm not entirely sure that's the case every single time.
No, I mean, I've seen people who have done something, and then you can see that they're still doing stuff. They're using their strategic spells, but they just sat there, and I don't know if those people are the ones who are going in with not enough spell energy, or because they've realised that's their best way to help out the team. But it can be frustrating when the clock is running down and they're not helping.
Yeah. And like we said, it's fine when it's 1 or 2. 2 is kind of pushing it if you're in a dark chamber. But that's where my kind of fear is that we're going to find ourselves the only one.
I think lobby and bus hopping is going to be a must on Community Day. But it's going to be so busy, though. It'll be hard.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's why the private lobbying is going to be so desperately needed, because if everyone is going to be bus hopping, can you imagine that the servers will just implode?
It's handled it quite well so far, except for the bugs.
Yeah,
thankfully.
but Community
Even
Day,
the first day, it rolled out so quickly to all levels.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's going to be an interesting one, though, because, again, we don't know what it's actually going to be. We don't know if they're going to boost some foundables. We don't know if they're going to add new foundables. But it's one I'm looking forward to, because the last Fortress Community Day we had was excellent. It was slightly different because we weren't, on social distancing, and we weren't, we were able to go out in the wild and play together. But I think this will be a good one.
Interesting. And I'm wondering whether we're going to get higher chambers, because it says higher chambers for higher rewards. Well, we can't challenge ourselves to higher chambers than Dark 5 at the moment. So the wording was a bit
open.
Yes, very open. But I'm hoping spell energy will be a reward at least. I'm quite disappointed that they didn't make Hogwarts Castle a sponsored fortress, so that you get some spell energy after completing them. It's only a couple of spell energy, but it might help you to keep going a bit longer.
Yeah, spell energy drain is definitely becoming a thing. And that's actually leads us quite neatly onto the Nature Nifflers Event, which was a huge spell energy drain. It was a lovely event, a lot of fun, really unique. Quite enjoyed the idea of a poacher and then getting the foundable from the poacher. But oh my God, my spell energy.
Absolutely. Having, as a Magi, I'm not sure how it was for the other professions, but needing 3 or 2 with a critical to take the poacher out, obviously it took a little bit of time. And then there's just foundables everywhere. I think we all felt like the Pied Piper very quickly, surrounded by Magi zoologists. And I think in real life, if we had Nifflers and baby Nifflers following us around, I think we'd all be absolutely loving life. But unfortunately, it wasn't.
Some people still have them.
Yeah, that's bizarre that some people still have them.
Yeah, some people do. It's crazy.
It's
I saw a picture of it on Reddit that looked like a donut. There was an inner ring and an outer ring full of them. But yeah, Aura's also had to take at least 2 as well, James, because if we got a crit hit, we could do it in 2. If we didn't, then it was 3. Professors were the only ones who could one-shot it if they had 2 enhancements. So, for instance, a Baruffio and a Tonic on would have been their enhancements. And then if they critted it, they could take it down in one shot, which is the opposite to normal oddities. Professors are usually the worst at oddities.
Yeah, which is kind of, to put it politely, I don't care. Because I suffer all the way through the damn Community Day, where I caught about half as much as you guys, because the spell energy drain on that was horrendous for professors. I loved this event. It was my favourite by far. I thought it was really incredible to be able to control the amount of foundables around you. James and I, where we live is relatively good for foundables, but once you've mopped up, it's kind of, a good 15, 20 minutes maybe before you start seeing a couple more again. And I love having that ability to control how many foundables were arriving with a tonic. That was fantastic for me. And if I ran out of strategy, then, I just stopped putting tonics on. So I really enjoyed this one. I thought they really nailed it. I understand, for you guys, it's frustrating to have to take 3 for it. And I know that a lot of the Magi Zoology ones, they were resisting a fair bit.
Yeah.
But I guess they've got to get the balance right between people just kind of grinding out all day and actually, I suppose, making some money maybe from people buying spell energy and what have you. So maybe a little bit less resisting, which I think is a common theme for these events. They seem to press the button to turn an event on and also crank up the resist, which I don't think is very fair. However, I thought it was a great success. Like I said, it was definitely one of my favourite events.
Yeah, I completely agree. It was one of my favourites. Again, it was a bit frustrating with the spell energy, but I don't actually mind spending a bit of money on the game. I love the game, and I know that some people have got to support it, so I don't mind buying some spell energy. I would have been happier if every profession could have at least 2-shotted the poacher, simply because sometimes you then go on to use 10 to 20 spell energy on the Magi Zoology foundable as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I liked that I loved the rewards. I mean, I got 32 silver keys that day.
Yeah, that was a huge bonus.
Yeah.
to like 54 dark detectors. I was the same with keys. I got loads of them. The coins for me was really great. I think I made about 500 coins throughout the day. That went straight on spell energy. You know, I was more than happy to put it back into spell energy. I had no problem doing that. I bought a couple of keys as well because I wanted to get those port keys done. And, you know, with the limited amount we can walk around, I was keen to kind of make the most of it while it was around and pick up any for even post the event. So yeah, I was more than happy to put the coins that I earned back into the game, and I thought that was a really nice mechanic. You know, that kind of system almost existed.
Yeah, I mean, both me and Ray have upgraded our spell energy capacity to 600.
Oh wow!
Because of that event. Well, it's more. It's better to top it up if you know that you can go out every couple of days and then, you know, top up that storage. It's cheaper to do it that way in the long run. So that was my argument for doing that.
Yeah, I think, well, just going back into the main issue, I mean, I feel like this event is the best event, maybe outside of the Fortress event, which I adored, the original Fortress event I adored, but this is probably my favourite event so far. And the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful bonus of Doxies, for me, was just absolutely a dream. For someone who's a night owl, I'm done with Doxies forever, and I'm so happy. I'm delighted.
I'm really happy, but also I've been getting some in the last couple of weeks because I'm still awake at dawn now. It's earlier. But yes, I was so happy to finish Doxies. I love that now when I'm drifting off to sleep, I don't have to think, oh, wait, there might be a Doxy. Have a look at my phone. I don't care anymore. I'm done with them.
And then have that horrifying sight in the morning, which is just like, oh.
Yes, they're not the best to catch that early in the morning.
For someone who set their alarm an hour early once a week to go to work specifically to catch Doxies before going into work, I was. I've seen over 1,000 now, so it's nice for everyone else who's not necessarily able to be up at that time or to make the choice to be up at that time to catch up as well.
Yeah. I mean, I saw 974 Doxies now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. You had a theory, actually, about why they did that, but I think it's been confirmed now, isn't it?
Well, kind of, but I don't think they've completely confirmed it. So people were asking why Doxy, and I thought it was because the poacher is not in the registry, but they had to link it to something in the registry to be able to give us the family XP rewards and all the rewards, so they decided to link it to the Doxy.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because
I think an interesting kind of way of doing it, if they were to do a similar event, is again looking to Pokemon, is they could have something akin to a shiny. So every kind of poacher you return has the the possibility of being, I don't know, a three-headed dog or something, or a dragon, and a regional dragon at that would be incredible. I mean, the rates could be equally as rare, something like 1 in 200. I don't know, but just to have that added kind of possibility, which would then again for them, kind of from a business model, would drive people to continue running their tonics and buying spell energy to return them, and from a player point of view, to be able to have an opportunity, using that dragon example, to get a regional dragon from a day event, I'd buy more tonics.
God, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Me too. I know a lot of people were confused by the event at first as well. They didn't realise that they had to defeat the poacher, and then he would drop a Magizoology foundable that you could see on the map to go in and release it. So I did. I was a little confused at first because when we were getting Doxies, I was like, well, that wasn't,
the communication going in was a little bit off, I think. But once people got it, it was fine. It
was quite easy to pick up, though, when you started seeing, loads of Magizoology stuff around you, and then you click on one and get one, and you've got the guaranteed reward. Yeah. It was it was easy to pick up once you did that. But at first, I think it just confused people.
But I loved the event. It was great. And it was quite intense as well. So it was over a 48-hour period. So I feel like I spent a lot of time on it, and I literally couldn't focus on anything else because it was one of those kind of things. Once you defeat the poacher, then you got to click on the thing. But as you say, you can also keep it in your own kind of grasp. You can do as much or as little out of it as you want, which I thought was the lovely part of the event.
I mean, I tried getting everything because of the rewards when I was only looking for unicorns. but I still was getting everything. So it was quite intense. And I found that I couldn't concentrate on doing anything else at the same time. So spent a lot of time on the game. But yeah, I've got enough unicorns to prestige. So I was very happy with that. So I'm on silver.
Yeah, silver thing, yeah.
Yeah.
It was very
Because, I don't expect to finish every page, every event. I just expect to be able to prestige at least once if the event is supposed to include everything on the page. I'd like to do that at least.
We came then into the March events. So I say, there's been a lot of things happening since this last podcast. So there's a reason why we haven't done a podcast, because basically we've been too busy with the game. It's just been a bit full on.
Or recovering from the game.
Yes.
And recovering from exactly that, yeah. So there was the March Makeup Community Day Play From Home edition, etc., etc. So there was lots of words used in that, which is a lot.
Yeah.
And people, I think, were a bit confused initially because of the use of March in this event, but it was obviously, you said it was to distinguish between the Community Day and
yeah, because they couldn't really call it a May Community Day because they've already got a May one coming up. So they had to make us know that it was March's Community Day being rescheduled to now.
Yeah.
But loads of people, for some reason, were confused by that.
Much more relaxed, though. For me, I mean, I started on silver, so I guess that probably helped. But I just felt that it was just a case of stick a tonic on, and there was a Fred or a George there waiting for me. Occasionally an Angelina and Pavati, which I thought was a little bit contentious. My thing about this event was it was billed as stay-at-home edition, and there was a lot of port keys you needed to kind of max out and prestige that page. The Angelinas and Pavatis were just not coming on trace tonics. I mean, I maybe saw about 3 Pavatis, maximum 1 tonic, which is a lot, but it's still not a lot. And if you live in an area where it's a bit rural, there's not much around you, not many spawns, they would just not pop in, nor would the port keys. So I felt like at some point it necessitated you going outside, and perhaps for a bit longer than you might have done in this current climate. I don't know.
I wouldn't have finished gold if I didn't go outside.
Yeah, that is slightly disappointing, and I think we tried to prepare in advance for it by fortressing and getting as many of those sign-up sheets as possible to mitigate the need to go outside. Personally, I think I put in around about 75 runestones to get about 10 of those sign-up sheets. As you all know, my luck was pretty shocking, but by the time Community Day started, I only needed 6 or 7, so I was able to walk off a couple of port keys and then get the rest from the rewards in there. But I know other people wouldn't have been as fortunate as that, or had as many runestones to burn on it as I did.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a very good position. On silver, I only needed 21 Fred and 21 George. I had everything else, so I did that at home. And then when we went out the next morning, because we did it just after midnight, Ray was then able to get his Angelinas and Pavatis to prestige to gold, and I was able to get enough that I was finished with them and just had to get the Fred and Georges then. But
I was in a similar position. I had the Angelinas and Pavatis ready to go. I needed 15, I think, of each Fred and George.
Yeah.
And before it started, and I think it was nice actually. I don't know how it was for you guys, but I seemed to get equal numbers of Fred and George at the beginning, and actually I was only getting Fred and George at the beginning. So from my personal perspective, it was wonderful because the 2 ones I needed, I was getting 1 of each time. Yeah. I was able to move through silver really quickly. But I did notice later on during the event, they seemed to rebalance it slightly. I don't know if you guys thought the same, but it seemed to be more Angelinas and more Pavatis coming in.
Yeah, Ray said I didn't use very many after I got to gold because they were done for me before I went to bed, basically. But Ray used a few, and he said that he was getting more. Yeah,
it did seem to be more of a balance. Certainly in the first few hours, as you say, it was literally Fred, George, Fred, George, George, Fred. And it was just like literally like that,
No, the Pavatis and the Angelinas, you were getting more off the
I mean in the first,
end.
in the first hour, yeah.
Yeah, and the port keys were the hardest thing, I think, for people to do.
Yeah.
I know you've got the night bus now that you could have grinded that as well as the port keys, but as you know, James, it's very difficult to get them.
The drops were not there. I generally am suspicious of the drops that were supposed to be there. I mean, they didn't advertise that they were Fortress drops, and I don't necessarily think I was getting everything, but I think I had one sign-up sheet. The problem with the Legends of Hogwarts family, there are too many pages, so your odds of getting the one thing that you need is very low. Compared to some of the other pages. But some people were finding creative ways to open port keys. For instance, Emma, she found out that 40 laps of her garden equals 1 kilometre. That's a lot of laps of your garden. She'd be
I think so.
She'd be competing with Tom Moore.
She was cutting the corners a little so her neighbours couldn't see her and think that she was a bit crazy, but...
Yeah, gosh.
I think I started off the community day feeling quite annoyed, I think. My first three, 2 Freds and a George, all departed first cast.
No.
It didn't bode so well, and especially coming off that Nature Nifflers event where, the foundables that the poacher dropped didn't seem to depart, which I thought was amazing. You've put a couple of spell energy into that poacher already. The nicest thing that they can do is stop them from departing, which was lovely.
Yeah.
But yeah, to then have a community day dedicated to Fred and George and to lose my first 3, that was really quite annoying.
Yeah.
I lost quite a lot more, actually. They said that they turned the departure rate down, but it didn't necessarily feel like that at times.
Sometimes I'd get them first cast, and then other times you just wouldn't. It'd be like 3 or 4 depart in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we were kind of lucky.
The potions, though, I was determined. I figured once I saw the spawn rates at the beginning, I knew that as long as I put enough tonics on, there'd be enough Freds and Georges, Pavatis and Angelinas to catch. So I watched them depart after depart, confident that they would keep on coming. And even though I wouldn't use any extramulo potions either, I was just throwing Spenergy after Spenergy at them, stubborn as I am, and eventually they stayed. But
yeah, the only times I used the potions was when we were out and I needed to get through a big pile quickly, because I don't want to be standing in one place for too long when you're out at the moment. You're not really supposed to. So I would put on a potent just to get through those really fast. And because I brewed so many potents, I still ended up with way more than I came in with anyway.
But I think going forwards, I think the Fortress Foundables need to be higher now.
Yeah,
I don't see why they aren't.
They've done in previous community
in the past where they're guaranteed. I don't know why they couldn't have. I think that's what you were going to say there, Laura. I think that would be fine. We've had this before. Make them guaranteed if you put the right runestone in a fortress, and then at least you can stay at home and get through it. You turn the tonic off for a minute, you do your fortresses, you get what you need to get through the page, and then you can start returning foundables again. I think that was the solution to the problem.
Exactly that, yeah. And I mean, I don't understand why they didn't do it. Now we've got the night bus. It's just made no sense.
My only theory with that was because it was a March makeup event, was the coding in place to kind of
they could redo it. I mean, we were a bit lucky here. We had a full day to recover our spell energy. Places like Australia didn't have a day, so they come straight off that Nature and Nifflers event into the community day, and they didn't have a way. So I was a little bit disappointed they only give 25 in the complimentary bundle, because they gave 50 on the last community day, and I know they give 50 for the Nature and Nifflers event, but it wouldn't have hurt them to put in an extra 25 for the community day. I mean, they are doing 50 for the next Brilliant event, so I'm happy with that.
Beth left us, by the way.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to wait for an opportune moment to drop that in.
No problem. Yeah, did you see the new tasks?
I can't say I have, Laurie.
No, so they're out in Australia. I think they're going to be out here from tomorrow, so everywhere from May the 5th. So they've reverted back to being complete one wizarding challenge instead of using the tonic for trace detection, which I know a lot of people would be happy with, because while we were all grateful they changed it previously, now we've got access to the fortresses so much better and quicker to do it that way. They've also upped the spell energy to 20 for picking up an ingredient or port key.
Fab.
And they've changed the wizarding XP that we need to earn from 750 to 1500, which is easy enough anyway. 1500. By the time you catch your 10 foundables, you should have done that.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they've changed it back, make it easier.
Yeah, definitely. I think the need for spell energy is important at the moment, because we are flying through a lot of it in these events, which is great. I mean, it's great that you've got a use for it, but I think that not everyone is still in a position where they can get spell energy easily. We're not. I mean, the beauty of, say, Pokemon at the moment, I mean, we talk about Pokemon a lot on here, but the difference between the games at the moment is that your buddy is constantly getting balls for you now, your buddy's getting gifts for you, your buddy is kind of helping you in all sorts of methods of catching Pokemon, whereas we're still not quite at that point with Woo. I think you still kind of necessitated to either spend the money, which is fair enough, or you go out and spin ins and just top yourself up. But yeah.
The double.
My earlier idea about having a Niffler following you around everywhere, I think we'd all absolutely love that. if the Niffler runs to the nearest inn and brings you back a gift and some Spenergy, I think we'd all be grateful. If it obviously found any coins, we know it keep it for itself, but I think that's a good
Absolutely. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, Emma actually, funnily enough, suggested that earlier. She said that we could have like our pet, you're allowed to pet at Hogwarts, an owl, a cat or a toad, that maybe we could choose which one of those and they can do that, go to the inns and greenhouses for us. So yeah, pretty much the same as the Niffler, but that would be so cool.
Yeah.
I love that Pokemon Go has extended the range for Pokestops as well now, where you can spin stops further away. If they did that on Woo, we would be able to spin or visit 3 inns from home.
Yeah.
So we are very close to them, but
just
absolutely. And we don't want to be negative again, but let's remember at the beginning of Wizards Unite, the range on inns was actually further than Pokestop. We were all commenting on how positive that was, and now Pokemon Go has upped the ante. They've raised the bar, so we need Wizards Unite to respond in kind, definitely.
Yeah, come on, WB, win the war of the range.
Yeah, it's funny. They're not in competition with each other, but in a weird way, it feels like they kind of are at the moment. It's like they're kind of trying to one-up each other. Like the Night Bus came before Remote Fortune. Now Remote Raiding has come in now. It's all a bit so much happening.
I do think in a lot of ways Wizards Unite have done a lot for us to be able to play at home, and I'm really grateful for all of the changes. Obviously, as with everything, we can always think of things we would want to have as well. So we can take for granted what they have done. And I know it's probably been a lot of hard work for them. They're all probably remote working as well. But yeah, we are very happy. I mean, obviously, if we weren't, we wouldn't be playing the game still. And we do all love the game. That's why we get a little bit frustrated when they do things to annoy us.
And we won't have the passion to talk about it for as long as we do either.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there is still much more to come with Woo, as we're not quite done with events, so we've got lots more to come, including another brilliant event beginning tomorrow as of recording this podcast, which is all about Quidditch, which is quite exciting. It's kind of into the summer period now, so Quidditch World Cup season, I suppose, is on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the tasks today have been shared by Orange Wizard, Animagus and Wizards Unite Hub. They look, as usual, they're really easy to complete from home. I like it. The bonus tasks are a little more challenging this time, which I like. You have to do just a little bit more. So it's earning 10,000 Wizarding XP. That's quite a lot, but easily done if you're doing Fortressing as well. You've got to cast Arrest of Momentum 45 times. That's more than they've ever asked us to do before. And return 20 Snitch. I'm really happy with them because I think the bonus challenges should be a little challenging. So, the only thing I'm not happy with is that there's going to be 15 Quidditch Through the Ages books rewards for the bonus assignment. I don't need any, so it's a little bit of a waste for me. But I'm happy that all of the other tasks have got some spell energy as rewards. Yeah,
because that page you need Quidditch Harry, don't you?
Yeah.
So...
I mean, I think they're gearing up for the Quidditch Wizarding weekend at the end of the month. I'd be surprised if Quidditch Harry isn't out then. So I think they're giving us the 15 Quidditch Through the Ages books now, because that means anybody who hasn't really Fortress before will have enough for the first page.
Yeah.
And I know we've had some Tri-Wizard Cups for the book night event previously, so some people will already be on their way to completing that as well. So
and as someone who's silver on that page, I'm quite looking forward to it because I'm 5 out of 21 on those books, so that will work. That will take me nicely there. Still plenty of Nimbus and Quidditch Captain Harry's to return, of course, and plenty of Tri-Wizard Cups I need. But the Goblet of Fire event we had some time ago now enabled me to complete that foundable onto silver at least.
Yeah, I really like the Pensievers being boosted as well for this event.
That's unusual, isn't it? Because it's not really a Quidditch themed foundable. But
sometimes it's weird with the brilliant events. The things that they boost is either to do with the spell, so this time is Arrest of Momentum, or it's to do with a particular family, and they keep flipping back and forth between it. And I really don't mind that we can't prestige a page on events like this. It's just good to get one of something rare. So
Pensieve, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, we expect to prestige pages on things like community days and even the weekend or 2-day events maybe. But for the brilliant events, it's just like a bonus. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, very much looking forward to any Pensieves that can come, because I think we're in the same situation as most people there, and that's the one that's preventing us prestige that particular page. For every 10 severe mysterious artifact foundables I see, 9 of them are Philosopher's Stones. If not more common. So more pensives are greatly welcomed.
Definitely.
100%.
Ray got 2 pensives back to back from Portkeys.
Yeah.
Was that yesterday or the day before?
Yeah, day before. Yeah, it's weird because like in the 10Ks, I've been getting all dragon eggs lately, which
Werewolves.
and werewolves. Oh my god! And so it was actually nice to get something really rare and exceptional again. So like I used to get Swooping Evils a lot from Portkeys, but it was that kind of like that moment was like yay! But yeah. Oh my god!
Whisper himself.
Yeah. I'm trying not to wake you up, Laurie. At Laurie o'clock. Like when I got my shiny Pikachu.
Yes. You were in shock.
I was literally in shock.
I mean, I am looking forward to this month's events. A lot of people have asked for a break, but the Brilliant events, they kind of are a break because they're easy going. You've got a full week. You can finish them in a day if you want to, the tasks.
Yeah.
I mean, some people get sick of just seeing the Brilliant Foundables for the whole week.
Yeah. And
But they're free runestones.
I got a bit of a thing about this because the Brilliant events are great. I do enjoy them, but you see these Brilliant Foundables on your screen for about 14 days of a month across the two parts.
Oh, when you put it like that.
I mean, like the colour purple, it's really getting quite offensive, isn't it? Let's be honest.
It's half your month. Half your month is brilliant, and it's like it's good and all, and it's fine, but it's a lot. And I feel like if it had just been one Brilliant event per month, I'd be happier. But it's splitting into 2 parts makes it a little bit like,
yeah. It feels like they're just trying to stretch out events. I think, though, everybody would be happy with just a community day, a 1-week Brilliant event, and maybe a week rather than a 2-day event for something else. So there's no like rush. I know that they've done a week for other events before rather than 2 days, and it felt less rushed. But yeah, we've talked about before a way of maybe turning off the Brilliant Foundables once you're done with them, as we know that they can do, especially just on trace tonics rather than in the wild as well. That would be maybe good, but yeah, I'm okay with events.
We've got to remember they're still in the first year of the game, and it can take a while to. You can never please everyone, and I think they're working their way in iteration slowly towards finding a happy medium between giving us events to stop us getting bored of the game and giving us something different to do, but not overloading us. And I think how successful the events are will obviously affect how we feel about the number of events, because if we're all as good as if we all enjoy them all the time, I don't think any of us will be particularly complaining about the number of them.
Exactly, yeah. And I know there's a lot of feeling of missing out if you feel pressured into doing an event or anything, but the game is meant to be fun as well. So if you're not having fun with them anymore, maybe take a little bit of a break, because you shouldn't feel pressured into doing it. I never do. I love to play. I play every day, even when there isn't an event on. I mean, it's always open on my phone and I love it. But yeah, I would like a new mechanic for Brilliant events, something like the Poacher, but only for Brilliant events. So I'm happy when I see them again.
Yeah, I think the good thing about WoW, and I've been feeling this lately in the last month or two since lockdown and everything, I've been feeling the game has really hit its stride. The Night Bus has been a big momentum booster. I think the events have been slowly getting better. I mean, the Nature Niffler Event, as we just said, is probably the best event they've ever done. The Community Day was good. Even though it had its negatives, it was still good. I feel like, and as you say, with the Brilliant events, they're starting to, the bonus challenges actually feel like challenges now. So I think they're starting to find their rhythm, and it's a comfortable rhythm, and it's working really well. Yeah. And I say the fact that we haven't done a podcast in so long is a testament to how much has been going on in this game. So it's brilliant.
Yeah. Another thing within this month's calendar, so the Orange Wizard, they've put on when the new moon is going to be. They don't normally do that, but we know that means Death Eaters are out during the new moon. So hopefully they will finally tell us that. Yeah, confirm it, because they haven't yet.
Yeah, it seems like unofficially that's when they come out. But because you see the Asgran escapees ran, but they're quite common now. The dogs seem to come out. Actually, the dogs don't seem to have a consistent rhythm. Like I've seen them in the day, I've seen them in the night. They just seem to come when they come, But the Death Eaters seem to have that rhythm of when it's full moon. They're more common than anything else. So
I think the weather has something to do with it. I've certainly seen a lot more Azkaban escapees when it's raining, regardless of the time of the day or the time of the month.
Yeah.
I think the three-headed dogs are similar as well, because I have seen them all times in the day and all times in the month. But I haven't got my spreadsheet up to date yet to to note what the weather is each and every time they appear.
Yeah, you're right. I think weather actually affects the foundables more in this than it did in Pokemon. I mean, I know obviously there are weather boosted Pokemon and then the Pokemon come out of weather, but I've really noticed that certain foundables will literally, like obviously the Centaurs is the perfect example, isn't it? Like when it's, it's clear, that's the only time you'll ever see them in the game. And Doxy's obviously first time in the morning. So like the kind of the timings and weather really impacts foundables, and it seems to be quite consistent among all types on all pages really.
And it's nice because it allows you to, if you know that there's a certain weather about and you're after a certain foundable, it allows you to go out. Unfortunately, living in Wales as we do, we see a lot more rain than we do anything else. And if there's any Woo players in California, they'll of course see a lot more sun. So they need to find that medium between making sure that things aren't solely reliant on the weather, but mixing it up a little bit at the same time. I've noticed, particularly in windy events, that you have to cast Meteoro, Jinx, Recanto a lot more than you would on other ones. Those foundables tend to appear more often when it's windy. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not, but I don't feel like it is.
Yeah, our friend lives in Miami, and I don't think she gets very many snakes. Horned serpents.
Horned serpents, yeah.
She'll get them in real life, though.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But, yeah, they seem to be... I know that there was a proper research done into the horned serpents, and I can't remember where I've read it previously, but it was about the amount of rainfall a country has and whether or not they're going to be more common. And it did seem to pan out that the drier countries don't see them as often.
They do feel like they appear more at dawn and dusk than any other time.
Yes,
they occasionally pop up, but definitely more when the day is turning to night and vice versa.
Yeah. Going back to the new moon thing, the reason why I was a bit, trying to figure out if it's just the Death Eaters, because somebody asked Orange Wizard, you've never mentioned the new moon in the past. Will there be something new at the new moon, like werewolves at full moon? And he said, I can't confirm yet, but many people seem to notice more Death Eaters are out during the new moon. I'm not sure why he said he can't confirm yet. It's been that way for the last few months. So as if they've told him that he can confirm it, but not yet. It's a bit odd.
And if there is going to be another foundable, I mean, we're suspecting...
That's what I was thinking. Is there going to be something new instead? Or as well?
To the Legends of Hogwarts page, they could do some more pages on there.
Exactly, right? Yeah. I need more foundables to dilute my already non-appearing sign-up sheets. So,
talking of new pages... Where do you think they're going to add to next?
Has to be Magizoology, doesn't it? Gotta be. Because you've got all the brilliant foundables from March when you had the Zuru, the Kappa, etc. I feel like Magizoology, I think I've got 2 gold pages now. Newt, if the unicorns had been more boosted during Nature Nifflers, that would have been another gold page. And there's only 3 of them there, so I feel like it has to be Magi.
Yeah, I don't have to ever get another low or high foundable on Magizoology again. Only Unicorn and Newt when I get to gold for Newt that I'll need in the wild. So yeah, I feel like they've got to add there. But I think they're going to add a Magical Sports and Games page at the end of the month.
That would make sense.
There's been some interesting files found of a new page. So, and there's also some challenge registry foundables that were in the official paperback guide for the game that aren't in the game yet. So we could be seeing new pages with that weekend event. I would love that. That would be a lot of fun.
Always something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting through a lot of the pages now. So obviously we're going to need to get to a stage where they start adding more gradually and perhaps at a faster pace now, because especially now with fortressing, you basically have all the tools you need to fly through pages now. So we haven't had any challenge registry add-ons ever, have we? No.
It's exactly how it was at the beginning of the game.
So in the official guide, there's 2 pages. One is called Quidditch Teams 1. One is called Quidditch Teams 2. And they've got, the flags or banners for different Quidditch teams. So that would be good if we could have something like that added in. It makes sense to do it this month if they're going to do it at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But Woo is definitely looking very, very busy ahead. This has been a very packed podcast. And I'm sure that future ones will be packed as well. But that is going to do it for today's show. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Departure Tonight. A massive thank you to James and Beth for joining us on today's show, and for Laurie as well, as always. Stay tuned as we'll be looking at the rest of the events in May and chatting much more about Wizards Unite in the days and the weeks ahead. What did you think of today's show? If you've got any questions related to the game, let us know in the comment section. I'll be answering them in a future show. But for now, thank you for tuning in. May your foundables never depart and your fortresses always be favourable.